Alright, video number 3 of the 2014 Carolina 21.8 DLV. I'm going to go over some interior things. I'm pretty much going to point out some negatives, some positives. Starting in the back, Carolina Skiff has this rear access cover or hatch. Kind of hard to get to with the bimini top in the way. Pretty much just gives you access to the side bilge, gas tank, hoses, those kind of things. One of the things I'm a little disappointed in is I really wish Carolina would have incorporated some kind of drop-in storage bins to utilize some of this available space. I understand the need to get to the bilge, but some removable drop-in storage devices or something would have been better suited. Another issue we seem to be having on this boat is these latches. I'm sure it's just an adjustment. I haven't really gotten to it yet, but coming straight from the dealer, as a brand new boat, these shouldn't be problems. This should be part of quality control, but this particular latch I can't turn at all and lock into position. Carolina's got 2 rear jump seats on these skiffs. They got one on the port or starboard port. You fold these seats back and you can see the seat is actually attached by a piece of material that is screwed up underneath the hatch. We'll see what time does to that. You open that up, more access to gas tank fittings, bilge. But that's about it. Again, this would have been another prime candidate for a drop-in storage compartment. That side's pretty much the same thing. Gives you access to the bilge. And then in the back, right behind the motor, you've got a completely removable hatch that gives you access to your pumps and whatnot. So your bilge is pretty accessible. One of the things I want to point out are these jump seats. Trying to close it, that's as far as it goes initially. Hitting it with pretty much force and it won't go down, then all of a sudden it pops, makes a big loud noise and falls down. I don't like that. I'm not sure what's up with that, but again, to me that's a quality control issue that should have been looked at before the boat even went to the dealer. Pretty much standard on all Carolina DLVs. They got a rear live well, pretty decent sized live well. This one seems to work well. This is where I put my greenbacks, my pinfish, anything larger. I opted for this optional seating console arrangement. It's got a flip down, flip up seat with storage underneath. That is just storage, it's not an insulated device at all. This particular model has a little wash down sink. I personally haven't used it yet, don't know how well it works. Incidentally, this boat has 3 live wells, and apparently the sink and the 3 live wells are fed from one pump. You'll notice too, when this seat rest is all the way back, this backrest, you can't open up this hatch. Another quality issue in my opinion. You got to fold the seat back. This console comes with a small but very deep live well. This live well has an air recirculation system in it. One of the things I want to point out on this particular option is the initial cover would not close, just like this one, but you couldn't even force it closed. It would latch, but it wouldn't come closed, it wouldn't flush out. This one I can push down and it flushes. Carolina was pretty quick on sending me a replacement hatch. I installed this, and this one still is a little rough, but it fits. But what I found is when this came out of the box, just like the old one I took out, it actually closed fairly well when it was out of the boat. When you put it in and you screw it down, this assembly torques, it twists, and something happens to it and it doesn't close right. Again, another quality issue. There is a large hatch in the back of this console, but there's no storage. It's just access to your plumbing fittings, and you'll notice on all the drain lines, Carolina's got everything packed with silicone. I don't know if that's because the hose is too big for the plastic T-fittings or what that is, or it's just added security. But things are easily accessible, just not a whole lot of storage. Another oddity I want to point out is that footrest. Doesn't move, it's rigid. So when you're standing at this console, and I've got some bruises on the back of my legs from the last time I was out in it, there's not a whole lot of room to stand. If you're kind of a big burly guy, you're not going to be able to stand and steer this boat. You're going to get something biting into you, whether it's the footrest or the steering wheel. So that's a little odd. And you'll also notice on this footrest, 2 weeks out, I've had it out twice now, and this footrest is loose. And that little peg, this thing right here, this isn't even bolted down or screwed. This actually came out one day, and I found it in the back of the boat. I didn't know what it was until oh, that's where it goes. So that should have been secured fast to the bottom of the hull, in my opinion. Another issue I have is I'm 6 foot 6 inches tall. I got a pretty good reach to me. If I'm sitting in this seat, I actually have to lean forward to grab the steering wheel. It is a tilt wheel, but it doesn't seem to matter where you put it. You still have to lean forward, so you can't actually sit straight back on the seat. I mean, my fingertips barely reach, and I'm stretching. You have to lean forward to grab it, so it could be a little uncomfortable at first, getting used to that. Carolina, the Suzuki gauges, I guess. These are Friera gauges, I think. Just typical gauges. Carolina's instrument panels, if you'll notice, this right here, courtesy light, storage light, that switch does absolutely nothing. There are no physical lights on this boat to illuminate any of the deck area. I was a little disappointed in that. There is a LED light assembly in the front storage compartment / live well, and there is an LED assembly in this seating console live well. The rear live well does not have one, but that's also controlled by the live well light switch here. Comes with a standard horn, the washdown switch, the aerator. Again, it appears the aerator has to be on in order for the washdown to work. Manual bilge, automatic bilge. I've noticed in Chop on Tampa Bay, if you put it in automatic, that light, that bilge pump will actually come on, and not, I think there's something wrong with the float switch, and it won't shut off. What else was on this console? Oh, another oddity too. Most boat manufacturers include a compass with their boats. I had to buy that one. I was a little disappointed in that. Dealer installed stereo. Just typical marine stereo. I did notice on this cover, I didn't really notice it until I got it home. I don't know if it can be seen on the video, but there is just a ton of scratches on this cover. I was really disappointed when I saw that. That's not a Carolina, that's a dealer issue. Dealer installed standard Horizon VHF radio, opted for, I think that's a 48-inch VHF antenna, so it can be fully upright while the bimini's up. And I opted to have a Lowrance HDS7 touch. I love this unit. I've had the Garmins, I've had the Humminbirds. I'm a big Lowrance fan, and I love that unit. First one I've had in the touch version, and I like it. Suzuki controls. One of the issues, these controls aren't very tight, so if you're trying to run on a plane, you constantly have to have your hand on that throttle, or it changes RPM. It drifts pretty bad, which is an annoyance when you're having to sit down in the seat and you got to lean over this way to grab the steering wheel, and the throttle keeps turning or moving, and a little aggravating. Another oddity, you get these 3 live well or rod holders on each side of the boat. If you'll notice, right above the rod holder is a grab rail. So what do you think that does to the ability to put rods in there? You can put small flats rods without a problem. They'll bend up over the rail, but if you got any kind of heavy boat rod, offshore type rod, you can't use those holders. You can use this one, but you can't use those two. That was disappointing. Carolina includes a removable windshield. It does make it easy to clean it if you get some stuff and debris down in there. Again, on this side, you got some more rod holders, but the same problem. Sitting right above them is the grab rail. A little disappointed in that selection. And speaking of rod holders, you'll notice there are no flush mount rod holders anywhere on this boat installed by Carolina. Your dealer can install them, but Carolina doesn't include any. I plan on putting my own in, and it gives me the ability to put them where I want, but you have to pay attention to the clearances you have under your rear standing deck. So because you do have a wrapped gunnel, so pay close attention to your clearances before you start drilling holes. Coming up in the front of the boat, this is a storage compartment by default, and you have the option of making it a live well. This one happens to be a live well, but I kind of find it absolutely useless as a live well because there's just too many steps involved to get into it. So it will forever be a storage compartment. Nice little padded seats. They're relatively comfortable. Your stainless steel grab rails so you can hold on. Underneath the console is a large storage door. Inside there you'll notice your rod holders are tube drained out to your deck, so it should be relatively dry storage in here. You'll notice that front storage compartment slash live well, it's not insulated, so there actually is no factory cooler type device on this boat. You have to bring your own coolers, and you don't have a lot of room for coolers. I installed a fire extinguisher in here, access to wiring. It's all pretty typical. Coming up in the front of the boat, you've got two large storage hatches. Here, I keep boat fenders, life safety gear, all that kind of stuff in there. And then same thing on this side, just large storage area for your stuff. I got cast nets, batteries for my trolling motor, dealer mounted batteries in there. I actually installed a power, what do you call them, battery charger sitting there. Another issue I want to point out is these latches, they seem to just fly up. I mean, they're like, when you're running, they'll pop right up. They can be trip hazards, or you end up stepping on them and breaking them off. I installed cooler brackets up in the front, so I got a little 70 quart cooler I put up in there. 2014s, I believe, incorporated anchor locker in the 21/8. Removable bow light. The bow light and stern light are actually stored in rubber brackets underneath here. Makes it kind of convenient. Keeps them pretty well secured. One of the options too, or actually not an option, but I was disappointed. Carolina gives you nothing to tie your anchor to. So I installed a little cleat up there that I can tie my anchor rope to. Alright, I'm going to stop this video just because of size, and I'm going to start another one.